Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast today. These podcasts are brought to you in part by our sponsors, who really truly are what make these podcasts possible every week. O'Fallon Nutrition is a company that I've worked with for over 15 years. They're independently owned and operated, located here in O'Fallon, Missouri, right off of Highway K and Mexico Road. I call this place the Whole Foods of St. Charles County, but even if you are not located on this side of the river, it is still worth the drive. I can remember working all the way down at Powerhouse and still sending people out to O'Fallon Nutrition for their supplements. They are more than a supplement company. You can get grass-fed beef, salad dressing, seasoning for your cooking, hair care products, makeup, deodorant, toothpaste, essential oils, and all the vitamins and minerals that you can think of. If you're looking for clean, whole food nutrition, as well as home care, house care, skincare products, O'Fallon Nutrition is your place. You can take a look at them at o'fallonnutrition.com, or if you'd like to have something shipped, if you're listening to me from outside of St. Louis, you can certainly have items shipped. I know they do free shipping if it's an order over $50, and the phone number is 636-240-5283. Again, it's o'fallonnutrition.com. As well as if preparing your food on a weekly basis is your primary excuse for why you're not able to stay on a good, clean eating program, which is something that I hear very regularly from my clients, I would ask you to please take the time to check out Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com. They are a phenomenal place. We get our food from there during the week. They deliver to our Integrity location. They will deliver to your house. They also are just available for pickup. You can go to their Chesterfield location or their Kirkwood location and just pick up meals for the day, as well as just having them delivered right to your door. So if preparing your food is your main excuse for why you cannot stay on a healthy eating program, then I would suggest just stop by Pure Plates. Just try it. If you're trying to lower your blood pressure, you're trying to lower your cholesterol, you're trying to get your blood sugar down, try to do Pure Plates meals for a week and just see how different you feel. These are organic meals. They are gluten-free. If you need them to be, they can be dairy-free. They are soy-free. You're not taking any processed sugars or meat curing agents or preservatives. They really, truly believe in nutrient-dense meals that are just whole food nutrition. And I've had my clients, or I've made recommendations for my clients for years at Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com, or you can call them to ask questions at 636-778-3555. Again, remembering that they have a location in Chesterfield as well as in Kirkwood that you can just run by and pick up a meal today. Everyone always asks me where I get my meat from, and given that I really eat meat on a daily basis, typically beef primarily, my meat is very important to me. I have an autoimmune condition and I want grain-free, corn-free meat, and I just haven't found the confidence in stores in knowing that I'm getting 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And I have searched and searched and searched for the right farm, and I have found the farm. It's fedfromthefarm.com, fed, F-E-D, from thefarm.com. These farmers are amazing. It's a family. They're here in Missouri, and they have the desire, just like I do, to see people well and to see people healthy, and they put a lot into what they do. It's such a wonderful family to support. They do offer 100% grass-finished, grass-fed, meaning that's it. A beef, and I get my ribeyes, I get my ground beef, my ground sirloin, I get my chuck roast. I mean, they basically have everything. They even have awesome jerky, but they also have eggs, they have chickens, and they have turkey. I'm planning on getting a turkey for Thanksgiving, and if you'd like lamb, they have that as well. But if you are in need of good quality grass-fed, grass-finished beef, or quality eggs, chicken, turkey, don't just settle for what you're getting at the local store. to go out on the internet and check out Fed from the Farm. That you can arrange a pickup or you can have it delivered to your home. And I can guarantee you're going to taste the difference. For me, my health actually depends on it. So I really thank God to have found such a great farmer. Fedfromthefarm.com. I hope it blesses you.
Welcome to Faith, Fuel, and Fitness, the Integrity Way, with your hosts, John and Debbie Morris from Integrity Training Systems.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. John and Debbie Morris here in studio, of course, with our friend here, Dr. Joe Molesky from Integrity Health Systems. Hello, Dr. Joe.
Hey.
Hi, Debbie.
Hello.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about guts, and I don't just mean dad bods. I'm talking about what's actually occurring on the inside. We just want to give you guys a little bit of information about why the gut health is so important, and so many issues and things that occur in the gut, people may not even know are occurring, and then even beyond that, they definitely don't know it's causing some of their greater issues.
Some of those secondary issues that come from the gut. I know for me as a health coach over the years, I have dealt with so many different responses in the gut with clients. We do well, we get their food set up, and then all of a sudden their body starts to change, and then we get to this basically brick wall where nothing's changing. Their cravings are still there. They're still having some immune responses. You know, we've pulled off the layers, and now it's very evident, okay, there's something behind this wall that we really need to get work on.
Right.
And so up to this point, for these weeks that we've had Dr. Joe on the show, I've been so excited because I'm talking about continuous glucose monitoring, and I'm thrilled about that. I cannot honestly tell you how happy I am to be able to partner with a doctor and do continuous glucose monitoring with my health coaching program. I've prayed for that for years. Well, what I've also prayed for is the opportunity to have a doctor that I can work with to be able to refer my clients out for the detailed stool test, the detailed sensitivity test to really identify, is there a pathogen? You know, what is going on in the gut? But unfortunately, what's happening is people really are coming, you know, they're ready to change their food, they're ready to make a commitment for change, but they don't have any idea that there's something underlying going on because they've been to the doctor time and time again, and the doctor hasn't identified any issues. But there is an issue that I believe is just like almost an epidemic that corresponds with obesity, diabesity, and then just simply, you don't even have to be overweight to have issues with this, and it's called leaky gut. And leaky gut is something that I dealt with the Hashimoto's disease. Now, thank the Lord, I've been with an amazing bank of doctors that have helped me, and they have treated me, and I really feel that it has helped me tremendously over the years. But there are a number of people that I work with that I get to a point with the food, and now I need to pivot. And that pivot is to someone like Dr. Joe. And I have to say, Dr. Joe, I really need you to run all of these tests, yes, and then they need repair. So, Joe, will you tell them can you just kind of start by just basically explaining what leaky gut is? I'd love to have sort of that medical breakdown,
sure,
you know, for people.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. And one of the things that I can say is your body, like with the continuous glucose monitors, it will tell you, it will tell you things. It will give you hints. Hey, this is wrong. By joint pain, unexplained brain fog, diarrhea, low energy, bloating after eating, even in your skin. So, you know, there's these symptoms that you're getting, or even some signs on your skin, or, you know, you're getting abdominal pain, that something is wrong. And what's wrong is you have inside your gut, it's composed of a thin, very thin, almost like coffee filter layer of cells, one layer of cells that, you know, you take in food, and your food then is processed through this tube, which is your gut and your intestines. They have this thin cell layer, and then right under that is your immune system in your body. So imagine you got this sewage or food that's being broken down. It's got one cell layer thick, and then you have it communicating with your body. So you would imagine that if that one cell layer thick, or that coffee filter paper thin cell layer thick, is damaged, you literally have sewage, or the byproduct of breakdown, communicating with your internal organs, and that can cause issues, and it can cause autoimmune diseases. A lot of the gut, 70% of your immune system is actually in your gut. So it wouldn't be good to be communicating with undigested chicken wing or processed Twinkie with that cell layer damaged, and then it's communicating with your immune system. So all of a sudden your body's like, wait a minute, I got a chicken wing and a Twinkie, and I have never seen that molecule. It's not broken down yet because I have all these holes in that thin layer. And then you get autoimmune diseases, and you also get these symptoms like acne, brain fog. So leaky gut is where you have a disruption in the layer of cells inside your gut, and it's caused by poor food choices, the junk food, like we've talked in other shows, those high sugary meals, those processed meals, those pizza, the nachos. Everything that you're eating is seriously damaging the thin layer, and now you're exposing yourself to problems. So it's very simple, but yeah, you're damaging this inner lining, and you get these reactions with your body, and you get inflammation.
And the unfortunate thing is, you'll have a person that comes in, they want to change their food. They're in a position to where, they really feel like they truly need to lose some weight. They are, they're ultimately in need of health, a health turnaround, because they're experiencing regular symptoms, but they wholeheartedly can't lose weight and they can't get rid of the symptoms, and they start to go on what would seem like kind of like I would say like a standard healthy diet, just your generic counting calories, counting carbs, different ratios, maybe a macronutrient diet, and yet they still don't lose weight, and they're still having health issues, and no one's getting to the bottom of it. It's not as if they're not going to the doctor. I mean, the clients that come into me are usually coming to me because they've already gone to 5 doctors. They've even gone to a GI specialist, a gastrointestinal specialist, and they checked for HL, or what is the
H.
standard?
pylori.
H. pylori. They check for
H. pylori.
these very specific sort of standard bacterias, and of course those don't come up positive, so everything's okay. But at the end of the day, no one's really going in and trying to penetrate any deeper to see what's actually running through the bloodstream. Why do you have these, actual symptoms? And then that having nothing to do with the fact that the gut actually may still have bacteria, yeast, fungus, and parasites in there as well.
I think that the thing for me when you're talking about this is, if you're someone that's listening and you're hearing all of this science and you're like, okay, I can put that together, that kind of makes sense to me, but how does that relate to the average person that's not studying this deep? Well, the way it relates is when you're done feeling like crap and you decide that you're ready for a change and you start going through the proper process to make that change, you may actually feel like worse crap. So when you're thinking about making these kinds of changes, if you have an expectation that you're just going to magically heal your gut and then all of a sudden start to drop that weight and then all of a sudden start to see a change to your health, there may actually be a dip. I'll give you, for instance, I know a child here recently that has not been doing well with eating clean and spent 3 days eating clean and then into a full week of eating clean. So about 10 days, and then 10 days, they had 4 days of stomach aches. Well, this child has small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. So you're actually witnessing the death of a living organism through that bacteria. That's not gonna feel good. Like, there's gonna be pain associated with that. So you're like, well, now wait a minute, I've cleaned this up and now I have a stomach ache? I didn't even have a stomach ache before.
Right.
But you did have other symptoms. That's why you decided to get clean.
And I can get into that further, but to just briefly with what John was saying is there's actually in those in fruits, vegetables, they have phytonutrients. The reason that they're a certain color, cabbage is purple. You have carrots that are orange. There's a reason for that, and the reason is because these phytonutrients feed the bacteria. So yes, like John's saying, you're going to get different bacteria based on what you're feeding them. If you starve them, you're not feeding them all these processed things, and you start feeding them what God intended, then what's going to happen is you're going to get those counts of those bacteria that are good are going to increase, and you're going to start healing. But yes, John, I totally agree with you. There's going to be that transitional period where you're like, what's going on? Well, what's going on is there's a change that's happening.
Right. And that's the main thing I want to make people aware of, because when you're looking at how you're going to try to make yourself feel better, if you're hung up on this idea that within 24 hours of creating a change, the better is going to happen, it's not going to be that way. You've been living your whole life like this. There's going to be something to unwind.
And when it comes to leaky gut, this is something that personally I've been doing nutrition for over 20 years. This is something that I've dealt with time and time and time again with folks. And the fact that you can come in and do nutrition with me now and know that I actually have a partner, a medical doctor that can assist you through the process is game-changing. For more information on a 6-month nutrition program with myself, as well as a 6-month concierge medicine program with Dr. Joe, you can give us a call at 636-299-2208 or take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com.
Welcome back, everybody. John and Debbie Morris in studio here with Dr. Joe Molesky. We are here. We've been talking this last segment about leaky gut. We've been talking about just gut health, and then how leaky gut and improper gut health can actually even relate to autoimmune conditions. We mentioned that in the last segment. And Deb, I know just in the time that I've worked with you, I've watched you deal with this on multiple levels, different types of issues that have come out of this. So why don't you talk to us just a little bit about your experience with that?
I mean, given that I have an autoimmune disease myself, I think I've just become, I just have a reputation of someone who,
nutrition coach.
You send someone, you'll get a part of it, you'll see a Facebook post, and I'll start getting tagged, and it'll be someone saying, my son or my daughter has this, and I really need some help figuring out what they should eat, and and you'll just see people saying, just multiple people saying, Debbie, you need to call her. She's that one person that just knows how to feed someone in these circumstances. And, over the years, I have worked with people dealing with MS. I've worked with people dealing with lupus, RA, Hashimoto's most especially. That's a super common one. And I have doctors refer Hashimoto's patients to me often. And there's autoimmune diseases that I'm not even mentioning right now, but those are sort of my most common ones that I've worked with. And they come in and they truly do start to reap a significant benefit just from the change of food. But what's happening is I've taken the Twinkies out, I've taken the, some of these things that you were talking about getting through the cell wall. Yep. And so now they're building those phytonutrients, you would say. So if something's escaping into their bloodstream, it isn't toxic poison, right? Yep. And then we may even in some circumstances have people that truly benefit from mild, very moderate fasting. And the only thing that they're benefiting from there is truly giving their system a chance to not be attacked by something, as well as the potential to flip the autophagy switch and actually self-detoxify and get rid of some of that old, ugly, dead stuff. So over the years, as I've mentioned, the food will take them so far, but then some repair needs to happen. And what I don't like is throwing things at clients without knowing why. I'll give an example. This having nothing to do with the gut. I cannot stand it when a client goes to the doctor and they end up with an anti-anxiety or an antidepressant, having no one ever checked neurotransmitter levels by saliva, by urine, or by blood, having no idea why it makes sense for them to be on that medication or not. Now, when it comes to the gut, how do I know if this probiotic or this prebiotic or that fiber or this oregano oil or this even makes sense if I don't know what is actually going on? Well, how would I know what's going on? Well, I'm going to do that detailed stool test. I'm going to do some sensitivity testing. Tell me, Joe, like you are kind of the answer to that prayer for people.
Sure.
I want to know what you feel those next steps are, and kind of if you could explain what we would do together, for folks.
So one of the things I will say just briefly, as far as like anxiety and maybe you're feeling just depressed or having some fatigue, 95% of serotonin, which is the happy molecule, that is a really important, neurotransmitter. 95% is in the gut.
Amazing.
So you would
most
say
people don't know it.
They don't know that. So you might be like, well, I need to be on an antidepressant. I need to be. No. Stop. Let's think about what's causing this, and let's check your gut. So.
Because we may never get to the cause. If you take that, it just may be masked over. It's like we've put something, we've covered it up.
We've covered it up with a pill, and the pill is going to make you feel nauseated. The pill we have to titrate up, where you're going to be on a high dose, might just feel like you're like a zombie, and we're going to tell you you're good. And then you come back in 6 months and you need more medicine. And that's not what we do at Integrity Health Systems. We don't practice sick medicine. We practice preventative medicine. So we like to just educate you that, hey, by the way, your gut, it could be the problem that you're actually having your acne problems, you're having your depression problems, and we're going to fix it. We're going to get down to the root cause. And we do that by, like Debbie was saying, getting a Genova stool test. The stool test is comprehensive, and it is a little bit of an investment, but I feel like your investment in your health, I mean, that what else are you going to invest in? I mean, you only get one life.
Right.
So we do this Genova stool testing, and it, like Debbie said, it looks at your microbiome or your bacteria. It looks at yeast. It looks like if you're deficient in certain enzymes, digestive enzymes. It looks at if you need supplements. It looks at a whole host of things where we can literally target these certain areas, these 10 areas that the test spits out, and we can see this is where you're deficient. This is what you need. You might actually need an antifungal. You might need an antibiotic. You might need some prebiotics, and we can use this comprehensive test to really hone in on why you're having your gut issues. Is it bacterial overgrowth, which is very common? And so that's kind of the first step. The next step we look at is, taking that and actually re-inoculating or putting in the right bacteria and the right digestive enzymes, and then we really want to repair those holes, and we do that through diet. A big thing with Debbie that we can get into the in the next section, but diet is a huge thing where we talked about before that these phytonutrients, these colorful food groups. They're not just colorful. These are colorful, showing the human body that, hey, I need to eat that because it's colorful or it's ripe. And that is going to be a really, really big important thing about healing your gut, because it's going to give the nutrients to the good bacteria, starving out the bad bacteria, and getting you on the right track to repair that thin layer of cells that's so vital to make sure we don't have the autoimmune diseases, to make sure we don't have that brain fog. So what we do here at Integrity Health System, we repair those holes with our plan with Debbie, as well as some natural remedies, as well as some supplements that can really prepare the gut.
Because at the end of the day, if we don't, number one, know what's going on,
correct.
So if we don't do that stool test, we could honestly be throwing nutrients at your body that you, number one, cannot even break down. You don't even have the ability to break it down. Your body is not even absorbing it, okay? So you're not even receiving the nutrition from it. And then it could actually be growing some of the bacteria. There's some probiotics that can grow it.
And you're wasting money, too. What are we going to do? This is not one of the things I'm going to get a Johnism here. Your body, it's not like making chili.
Right.
Hey, we're going to do a little of this, and then it might hurt you. Well, we'll try this. I don't think that's what we practice here at Integrity Health Systems. We practice, hey, we want to fix you when we get down to the source.
Well, and work smarter, not harder.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, don't be doing a bunch of stuff you don't need to do. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, and it's a waste of effort.
Yeah.
It's not actually going to, at the end of the day, what you're doing, everything that you do should be making sure that you're as healthy as possible. And I always tell people, get to the baseline. And with Integrity Health Systems, that's what we do. We take you to your baseline, and then we properly treat you. Because if you're just basing what you're treating off of symptoms, go ahead and Google what your symptoms mean. You will find 982,000 different diseases that you potentially have. So if you're only treating it as a symptom and not figuring out why, you're not going to accomplish anything.
For more information on a 6-month nutrition program with myself, or a combination of 6-month nutrition program as well as a 6-month concierge medicine program with Dr. Joe to go through all of these detailed tests and to really get to the bottom of what's going on, you can call us at 636-299-2208 or take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com.
Welcome back, everybody. John and Debbie Morris in studio with Dr. Joe Molesky, Integrity Health Systems here. We are talking a lot about the gut today, something that I feel is very underspoke about. Not enough people pay attention to how important the health of the gut is, not only to keep your gut healthy, but in regulation of all of the other things that could be going on in your body. We were just talking a lot about some different things. We've talked about leaky gut. We've talked about the effects that it can have on autoimmune conditions. And one thing that I want to talk about that I know you even just mentioned on break, Dr. Joe, is something that I talk about a lot, and that's food is medicine. And the reason I talk about that a lot, even without having the background and credentials that you do, is I've tried to explain to people, you know, when you bring a medication in and you think about the digestion and the way in which it gets into your bloodstream, the way in which it gets into your body, if you're consuming foods that have chemicals, don't you think that they can be a part of how your system operates the same way? Correct. So if you're eating something that's got a chemical compound that is very similar to the chemical compound of what you're taking in the form of a pill to help with anxiety, don't you think it could have a similar effect? So let's talk a little bit just about, you know, how the health of the gut relates to those things, and then also how food can be seen as medicine.
Yeah. So what I want to get into is, I know in previous segments we talked about uric acid, and I won't get too technical, but I'm sure everyone has heard of uric acid being like gout, like, oh, you get gout attacks or whatnot. Yes. And yes, that's true. You can get uric acid that builds up in your joints causing pain. But what people don't understand too is uric acid, when you're having a diet that's filled with fructose or sugar, any sugary diet, like if you're eating, you know, like the average American, the American Diabetic Association says women's supposed to have at least like, it's about 25 grams. The males are supposed to have about 35. Well, that's per day. As Americans, we're literally consuming 129 grams a day. So we're almost eating triple that. Now, like I said in previous segment, that produces high levels of inflammation in the form of uric acid, and that's damaging your cells. And one of the things that is really interesting is food. Like we talked about the gut having that thin cell layer where it's damaged, and you start getting these inflammatory issues, and you start getting autoimmune diseases. Well, one of the things that I love partnering with John and Debbie, because Debbie is really focused in on your diet, and that is you know, the prescription that Integrity Health Systems is founded on is Debbie's prescription to better health. And one of the things I like to get into is simply fiber. So when we talk about fruits, vegetables, we talk about fiber, and fiber actually decreases your glucose spike, okay? It literally, when it's in your stomach, it actually forms like a net-like structure, and actually decreases that glucose spike that you're going to get if you're eating any carbohydrates or sugary meal or whatnot. And there's actually another component that's found in a lot of vegetables like onions, leeks, asparagus, Brussels sprouts. I've had Debbie's Brussels sprouts and cabbage. They're amazing.
Right.
Right. And so there is something that, you know, when you hear that, oh, you know, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Why are parents eat your broccoli? Well, maybe there is something more to that. Maybe there's a reason for that. And there's a molecule called inulin. Inulin is actually found in a lot of these leafy green vegetables. And actually what that does, it actually slows the digestion of sugars, lowering your glucose spike, and then actually it feeds those bacteria. It's a twofer. It feeds the bacteria that's in your gut. So it's like repairing your gut and decreasing the glucose spike. And so Americans that are having these, drinks from Starbucks with 60 grams of sugar or whatnot, yeah, eating fiber is going to help mitigate that. I think no one should be doing that, but what I'm trying to say is by adding in these fibrous materials, adding in these leafy green vegetables, adding in just a healthy diet that's not, the nutrition label is not composed of 38 things that you can't pronounce. And Debbie's program really hones in on that, hey, we got to get rid of the inflammation, we got to get you on the right track. And so one of the things I want to say real quick is Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts have chemicals called sulfurane. And what that does, it actually extinguishes uric acid by activating a pathway called the NFR2 pathway. Okay, this is a little science jargon, but what it does is actually produces an antioxidant inside your cells and actually eliminates that toxin that builds up after you're eating all this sugar. So maybe you're at the gas station eating a candy bar or drinking Pepsi, but you're going to go home and eat Debbie's Brussels sprouts, and you're going to eat that. You're going to eat her diet, and that's going to counteract and kind of save your cells, and your cells are going to be like, thank the Lord that we have Debbie Morris here.
Right.
So food is medicine.
Yes, it really is. And whenever I break down, in my first appointment with someone, I always say, I'm going to break down the rate at which food converts to sugar to you. Because what I'm trying to do is help people to understand how to eat for the rest of their life, not just to hand them a diet and walk them out the door. My first appointment could be 15 minutes long if that was the case, but it's 90 minutes long. And if it's a couple, it's 2 hours long. So ultimately what I do is I break food into 3 different groups. And the very slow to convert to sugar group is going to be those high fiber vegetables. And I tell folks, even if you're going to have that mid group, which is going to be your sweet potatoes, your butternut squash, parsnips, beets, quinoa, yes, those are not hyper fast converting foods, but they still are middle of the road. I'll even tell folks, I want you to make sure that you have some of those high fibrous vegetables to the left of you to slow down the absorption of the sugar in those other foods. And then if you're going to go and have some white rice and you're going to have some pasta and you're going to have some bread, then I especially want to make sure that you're going to have some of those vegetables to get in there and really slow down the absorption of the sugar in those other foods. Guys, this makes a big difference. If you can really grab a hold of the science of this and really get an understanding of what's happening when you're eating, that's why I feel the glucose monitor is so helpful for people, because yes, I love that science and I love explaining that science, but yet here's a number right here in front of your face. This is what happened when you did the Starbucks. This is what happened when you did the Brussels sprouts. But what you don't understand is what's truly penetrating deep internally, like he said, with the cells at a cellular level. And when I consult on nutrition, I am consulting from a cellular perspective always.
I recently had a conversation with some buddies of mine, and we were talking about growing muscle tissue, like actual growth, and the food as well as exercise that goes into being able to do that. And just all of the things you hear about, depending upon your size, you want to consume 1 gram of protein to, each pound of body fat, each pound of what you weigh every day. You want to consume 0.8 to each pound, like all of the different things that you hear about that. And one gentleman proposed dirty bulking. And what he said was, he's like, well, I have a high metabolism and I can eat just about anything. And, I don't always, I digest right through it and I burn right through it. Like I have to dirty bulk to grow, and then I just cut the fat off later. And I'm like, that is the stupidest thing like you could possibly do, because first off, the weight that you're going to gain it's not muscle. Now there's validity in watering your muscle tissue, using things like creatine, Crealkaline, and creating size that isn't actual muscle tissue for growth. Like, there's validity in that. But if you're talking about eating Oreos to hit a calorie content, and this is what he's saying, it's like, what is the point of that? Because not only is that body fat that you're going to have to cut off later, but the health effects in the gut, the things that are occurring inside of you, like, you could potentially be getting yourself to become insulin resistant, so when you go to cut that fat off, you're not even able to do that, and you start talking about such empty calories. Like, and this guy said, well, I just can't eat that many calories clean. Well, then you've met what your body is physically capable of in growth. Right. Because if you can't eat that many calories clean and you start resorting to dirty, what is the actual nutritional information in that dirty calorie? And so anyway, my point in even bringing this up is I just find it so fascinating that people are so quick to neglect what food can actually cause inside of their body for an external result.
Well, and I will say I've witnessed that whole dirty bulking concept. And I just want to say that there are a lot of people with many different goals. And I just want to take the bulking concept even out of it. You want to create some sort of balance within your life and some sort of harmony. So you believe that bringing these poisonous ingredients in creates that balance, but what you're actually doing for yourself and for your family is creating imbalance. And the gut imbalance that gets created, honestly, sometimes can take years before you start to see the end result. And that end result being leaky gut. You may get a little acid reflux, you may get a little bloating, you may get a little bit of abdominal distension, a little bit of constipation. Maybe you have, just a couple stomach aches every now and again. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, wow, I've taken this too far. I now have leaky gut and I am not okay. And now I have autoimmune issues.
I dirty bulked in my 20s and I had a heart attack. So it's like, I'm here to tell you, people would look at me and they're like, oh, you're a big guy. And was I strong? Heck yeah, I was strong. Like, don't get me wrong, there is strength. There is energy production in those calories. But what are you looking for? Sure. The growth that I achieved, I was almost 310 pounds. And when I went through Debbie's nutrition program to lose weight, I thought I was going to have like maybe 30 pounds to lose because I thought I was jacked. I lost 100 pounds, and probably if I wanted to stand on a bodybuilding stage, could have cut another 10 to be as lean as I needed to be to lean. So that meant that I was carrying around 100 pounds from dirty bulking that I didn't even realize wasn't muscle. Of course I knew I had a little gut, but I thought that was my power gut. Of course I knew that my arms looked a little thicker and not sharp, but I thought that was water retention from my supplements I was taking. I didn't consider the 100 pounds of garbage that I was carrying around on a daily basis, the fatigue I dealt with because of it, the anxiety I dealt with because of it, the depression I dealt with because of it. And if you're prone to any of those things, go ahead and make them 100,000 times worse by consuming like that.
Yeah. And by him doing that, you get a certain weight that you're trying to achieve, but you don't really think about what your cells are doing at a cellular level. Like Debbie was saying before, the mitochondria, that powerhouse of the cell, those mitochondria are probably super, super stressed. And it's just unfortunate that we have bad information out there. And here at Integrity Health Systems, we really want to get you kind of back to baseline, and we want to kind of give you the right information, not just what Dr. Google shows.
Absolutely.
Well, and I just want to, we're getting ready to wrap this segment up here, but I just want to say this. Like, if you're telling yourself that you're different, you're okay, I still look good, I've got a six-pack, I'm in my 20s, I'm only a teenager. If you're a parent saying, well, they're still young, they're just a kid, kids will be kid, that's garbage. I had my first stent put in when I was 26. Okay, so it's not... there isn't an age requirement on this stuff. There isn't an age requirement on the damage you're doing, okay? So quit telling yourself that it's okay because of age or just because you're not necessarily experiencing the stuff we're talking about yet.
And the leaky gut is an epidemic, basically. You just, the problem is most of you don't realize you're walking around with it. You're just taking an antihistamine for allergy symptoms. You're taking an antacid for digestive system or issues, and then you're taking an anti-inflammatory for pain. But all of that is sort of linked and based out of what's going on in the gut. For more information on a 6-month nutrition program with myself or a 6-month concierge medicine program with Dr. Joe, you can give us a call at 636-299-2208 or take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com.
Welcome back, everybody. John, okay, I'm sorry, guys. I said that I would sing, and that was as close as I could get to it. John and Debbie Morris in studio here with Dr. Joe Molesky. We're talking a lot about gut health here. Thank you, Deb. I'm not doing it on the radio, though. This isn't where I'm making my debut. Okay, so we want to talk a lot. We've been going over a lot of different things with the gut, and honestly, just like I say every show, we could do this for hours. I mean, there's so many things to cover here. One thing we touched briefly on in the second segment that I want to get back to, though, is inflammation. This is something near and dear to my heart, and I know it's actually more common than the world thinks it is, but inflammation for me, as an example, is I know that when I consume anything that is in higher sugar quantity, and I'm not just talking about bad sugar, I'm even talking about just a high carb or something really starchy, if it's outside of what I have found to be my acceptable normal pattern of eating, I have inflammation that actually turns into arthritic feeling pain, and that inflammation just flows through my body. I can see weight gain in that. You know, I can eat something and potentially see my scale go up 5 pounds, and it's like, oh, did I gain 5 pounds of fat? No, we're just talking about inflammation. So I just want to pass this over to Dr. Joe and Debbie and just talk a little bit about inflammation and their experience with what it does in the body.
Yeah, so what I like to start with on this inflammatory topic with the gut is, when you go into a grocery store, or you even go into like, a gas station, and you're like, man, I'm hungry, I just want a quick snack. Catch yourself. Go in. Find something that's healthy in a gas station.
Right.
Find something that's healthy even at a grocery store. It sounds crazy, but it's the truth. I mean, one of the things that food marketing companies really like is that quick fix. They want you to have the sugar, they want you to have the grains,
right,
and they want you to have something that's going to make you keep coming back. Make it a small portion size, make it highly dense in calories. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is I want to talk about grains. We've talked about a lot of sugar. We know sugar's terrible, and it has that effect that keeps you wanting more. But what about the grains? You see Cliff bars, you see different little, I'm going to have this granola bar. It looks healthy. It's got everyone smiling with roses, and it's got rainbows, and you got a little kid on it smiling. But actually, oats and grains are not good. And the reason they're not good is because those grains and oats and whatnot, they're highly processed and they're and refined. And what happens is everybody on this planet is actually gluten sensitive. What I mean by that is not like, I got celiac disease, I can't have gluten. I'm not talking about that. But actually, gluten is actually a substance that the plants use in order for their protection. All right. So when we take grains in and it goes down to our GI tract, it actually causes a little bit of inflammation. And what our bodies do is they actually create this substance called prostaglandins. And it's like, if you would just say, it's almost like an ibuprofen or an anti-inflammatory. Our body secretes it. It coats the inner lining of our GI tract and calms down that gluten. Okay. Now, patients can actually have gluten intolerance or celiac disease when that mechanism doesn't work. But what I'm trying to say is if you're eating grains, oats, breads all day long, your body is under constant attack, and it's literally getting these bouts of little inflammation. And guess what? It's the grains and whatnot, that also is high in carbohydrates. It spikes your blood sugars, and that leads to a cascade of robbing you of your energy. So there is that inflammation that, guess what? The food marketing companies, it's the quick fix, but it's causing inflammation.
Well, and like you're saying, what's interesting about that, even with the gas station concept, is, guys, people, you're not set up for success here. I mean, you go into the gas station and you try, so you grab the banana and the grapes because you're like, well, it's fruit, so I'll get it from the fruit section. But the banana and the grapes are just chock full of fructose. So it's like you're even trying and you're not set up for success. Or you think, I'm going to grab this bar, which is protein bar, and it's like, it's actually worse for you than the cookie sitting next to it.
And really quick about the grapes and the banana, back then, like way back when, fruits like bananas and grapes, they didn't have as much high like fructose content. Now, the companies, they bred those lines to make, we want the grape that has the most sugar, and we want the banana that's the most
fullest color, taste the best,
have the highest sugar content.
Yes.
So it's, there you go. Even in the right food choices, it's like, my God, we're ingesting all this sugar that's damaging us.
There's also what's called pro-inflammatory foods. So I'll just use, usually when I work with someone, during that first meeting, we go through a very detailed explanation of what your pro-inflammatory foods are that we want to avoid, and then you're sent home with a packet of those as well. If I was in the gas station and I saw maybe a package of almonds, and maybe I saw a package of cashews, I would think, okay, well, I'll just grab those because maybe that will buy me some time. I want to stay away from the fruit. I don't want to have sugar. I don't want to have the grains in the bar. I'm going to grab those nuts. But I'm not paying attention to the ingredients in the nuts, and they are roasted in soybean oil.
I was going to say, if you can find those that don't have ingredients, I had to go ahead and post them on our page. I'd like to know what gas station you're at.
Peanut oil, sunflower oil, cottonseed oil. Those are all pro-inflammatory oils.
Right.
And they will start to cause a heap of trouble in your gut, but they will also cause so many different sensitivities. I mean, not to mention it'll cause cardiovascular issues. But at the end of the day, we have to be looking into all these details. Maybe you are in the gas station and you grab a bag of beef jerky. You don't recognize what's inside that beef jerky. It's not just beef, it's meat curing agents. Those meat curing agents are pro-inflammatory foods. Now, if we went to the grocery store and we bought a Chomps and we bought raw almonds, yes, we actually stand a chance at actually stabilizing your blood sugar. These are the things that make the difference, though. You need someone cornering for you.
Yes.
You need someone saying, "Oh, no, don't get that one." And like you said, John, we know. But Quick Trip actually does have raw almonds.
Right.
Now they also have like 9 other packets.
Correct.
But there's one
that look
packet.
better and even seem like
one packet.
It's weird though. Like I even tell people, I'm like, when you're looking at something, if you find yourself looking at it and it looks like it's going to taste good, how weird is that? Like the labeling, the packaging, what they're selling you literally has you wanting to eat it before you eat it. You can't really make plain almonds look amazing. You just can't. But all this other stuff, it just, like, if you're salivating for this stuff, I mean, that should tell you something.
And I'm going to say something. As a physician, I'm going to say this, is that you need that coach or that thing in the back of your head. It's Debbie or John, or maybe it's me, that's telling you at the grocery store, don't do that, do that, do that, don't do that. And the reason I say this, folks, this is your health. This is not something that we just dreamt up. This is your health, and it's important. And so I, even before my wife went to Debbie, I started like thinking about this stuff, but I just kind of brushed it off. I was just busy with being a doctor and whatnot. And then I saw myself gaining weight and being unhappy and being, fatigued. And then when my wife went with, Debbie's nutrition course, we started as a family looking at labels, looking at inflammation, looking at these oils that are causing issues. And my wife, she deals with, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and she's on a few medications, and Debbie's helped her get off a few.
Yes.
It's just one of those things where I feel like this should be the prescription at every doctor's office, and it's not. And I think that's where we, as Integrity Health Systems, we don't want to just pass you off with a medication or, hey, your labs are normal. Guess what? normal labs, that's not the end of the story for you.
Right.
So I really am passionate about what we're doing here and what Debbie has to provide, because it really is that should be the core of your prescription, is your diet.
Absolutely.
Right. Because you need that diet to be in place to create that baseline so that you know how you naturally feel without external assistance. Because if you're consuming things you shouldn't be consuming, you're drinking things you shouldn't be drinking, or, well, you just really deserve that. Well, what you're telling yourself is, I really deserve my glass of red wine every night, but what you're actually saying is, I really deserve my insulin intolerance and my headaches that I deal with. And you don't want to associate that, but that association that you're taking then a medication for that might have a side effect, that's what's messing you up. So getting to a place where you're actually baseline through clean eating, not bringing in improper garbage into your system, and then creating a situation where maybe at that time you need a medication, that's what you need to be looking to do.
Clean eating is life-changing. It not only will change the way you look, it is going to change the way your mood responds. It is going to change the way you break down and digest and receive your nutrients. It is going to change the way your skin responds. It's truly going to change the way your joints and your muscles feel on a regular basis. Food is medicine, but it also can be toxic and it can be poisonous to you as well. You just have to pick your poison. You have to decide which direction are you going to go. And I don't expect you to know how to do that. That's what we do. It's what we've spent year after year after year doing, and we're very passionate about it. For more information on a 6-month nutrition program with myself, as well as the potential of coupling it with a 6-month program with Dr. Joe for concierge medicine, and to also do some continuous glucose monitoring, please give us a call at 636-299-2208 and take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com. Thank you so much for listening today, and God bless.
Hi, my name is Debbie. I'm a mom, nutrition coach, and my husband and I own a gym. I'm also a baker. I bake healthy cookies, brownies, and muffins that are high in protein and low in sugar. And yes, they are gluten-free and dairy-free. Our daughter Sophie is our greatest inspiration, so we decided to name all of our baked goods after her. The idea for Sophie's cookies, brownies, and muffins came out of a real need to provide our daughter with a healthy snack. These healthy snacks make her more alert, balanced, and overall more joyful. We know that our baked goods are a better way to snack, and we want everyone to experience it. If you like snacking, then you will love our baked goods. Sophie's cookies, brownies, and muffins are for all ages. We don't want anyone to miss out on the benefits of our delicious and nutritious snacks. These are going fast. Order your very own Sophie's cookies, muffins, and brownies today.